Happy Tuesday, everyone. Just so excited to be here with you this evening. Right now, you just have me. My wonderful co-host, Scott, is taking the evening off. He's actually here, hanging out in the background. So feel free to give Scott a shout out in the chat if you want. But he was going to take the night off tonight as he was supposed to be traveling. Travel plans got interrupted, of course, due to this nasty pandemic that we're continuing to find ourselves in. So he's hanging out in the background tonight. Wasn't planning on being on camera, but he is definitely here with us in spirit. So to give him a shout out for sure. Tonight, we are all going to talk about community and relationship building. You know, with the start of the school year and kicking off and building new relationships with new coworkers, with students, with maybe new administration, new leadership in your school district, we thought, it'd be a great time to talk about the importance of community building and the importance of relationship building. But before we continue, I want to introduce our co-host tonight, which is the amazing Lisa Silver. I'm going to introduce you all and let you know that Lisa is now our new MIE expert and Showcase School leader. She is managing these programs for us at Microsoft Education this year, and we're so excited to have her lead the community. So welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Robin.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa, we're talking about community tonight, and there's no better way to start off in talking about community is that the amazing community that we have here at Microsoft Education, and that community is the community you're leading. So who better to have on the show than you? So Lisa, why don't you kind of just tell us a little bit about the community this year?
Sure. I'm so excited to, and this is so cool. It's the first time I'm getting to talk about this new community that I'm leading. So we have 707 MIE experts as part of the community this year, which is so fabulous. And sorry, we've got another community member, of course, right when you introduced me, Robin, she jumped on my lap and now she's trying to, she's just trying to say hello. So
she wants to be a star.
She does. That's just how it goes. So yes, 707 MIE experts, as I mentioned, and I'm assuming that our background friends are putting up some slides here to show everyone. And so if so, you should be able to see the map that shows the US MIE experts this year and where they are. So just a little bit of background, because there may be some of you out there listening that don't know what the heck is an MIE expert. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. So we call them MIE experts for short. It stands for Microsoft Innovative Education Experts. And these are a group of educators that were selected from thousands that applied. So that in itself is fabulous. These are self-driven, passionate, collaborative educators who inspire their students with creative thinking and thought-based technology integration in the classroom. So these are the best of the best. They're empowering the students of today to create the world of tomorrow, which really goes awesome with our Microsoft mission, empower every person on the planet to achieve more. And I think that key word is empower. We really want to give these educators the ability to feel empowered themselves, and then in turn to empower their students. Looking at this map, you can see kind of something fun to point out is that Florida, who in the past has not been in the lead, they're in the lead this year with 103 MIE experts. They took over Georgia this year, so way to go, Florida. That's awesome. Super, super cool. I am based in Colorado. And so for those of you that know your geography, we're one of those purple states. We've got a ways to go. So Colorado educators, since now I'm part of the program this year, we will be coming for you to up the game a little bit. So with that, we have a couple of other pieces of our community that I am managing, and I'll talk about the Showcase schools next. So we've got 39 Showcase schools around the globe this year, excuse me, in the US this year. And these schools are really pushing the envelope on how they use Microsoft technologies across their campus. Would love to celebrate not only these schools now, as well as the MIE experts. So yay, Showcase schools, yay, MIE experts. If you have a drink, we can kind of cheers virtually for all of these wonderful members that are part of our community. Finally, we have a third group, which is called Incubator schools. This year, we've got 32 Showcase Incubator schools, and these schools are schools that are working with their transformation journey, working along with us to hopefully become a Showcase school in the future. They've committed, They're committed to putting in hard work, effort, learning to make this great change to transform their schools. So really, really excited to lead this community. So excited that everyone is part of this community, and I can't wait to learn and grow along with these educators.
I just love what Carrie just threw in here. Not that my part there, but really that this community is an incredible learning team, and that is the epitome of what these communities are. These schools programs, these MIE experts as part of this community. It's a learning team. It's them willing to share what they are doing with each other, their successes, their failures, but it's going all in and not wanting to keep everything to yourself and really grow their network and be a learning family. So yes, Carrie, right on.
And I would just add to that, I am going to brag on you a little bit, Robin, because that is really, really perfect what she put in. You really are the impetus. You're the impetus of this whole community. You created this community. You have done a fabulous job getting it to where it is today. And as I mentioned in kind of an intro call last week, I am not trying to replace you by any means and the good work that you have created. I just want to continue it because you have done a fabulous job. So you deserve that shout out. I know you're humble, but you deserve it.
I think our GM just calls taking good to great, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right, we're coming after you, Lydia. We're going to take good to great, great to greater. Yeah. So, speaking of community and community being all around relationships, Lisa, can you tell me a little bit about why do you think relationships are so valuable in education?
Yes, and this is very near and dear to my heart. I have spent about 25 years in education, K-12 education specifically, close to 20 as a K-12 educator myself. And then the past a little over 4 years have been spent at Microsoft working with educators and students. And so this to me is this question is crucial in the world of education. So I actually found this quote. It was posted in a social channel. I think it was actually in Facebook last week. And I think this quote is so accurate. So teachers need other teachers. This is not a job that can be done alone. Collaboration and friendship are vital in keeping teachers sane and happy. For number one, I think that's 100% accurate. Number two, let's be real. Education is a really hard profession. I think between healthcare and parenting, actually, if we, for those of us that are have been stay-at-home moms before, education ranks right up there. And there's so many challenges in education from, increasing expectations from state and district and school guidelines to difficult parents, to difficult students, to diminished resources, to health concerns. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's all in education. And I know when I was in the classroom and even still today, educators are always asked to do more with less. So there's always more expectations put upon us, and there are always less resources that are taken away from us. And so with that, I just know when I was in the classroom, you need your people. You need those people who get it, who understand, who are going through the same things, who have the same challenges, the same passions as you. You need to be able to have those people to commiserate with, to collaborate with, to just celebrate with. You need to have that group. I think having those that you trust can really help be some stress relief, because you have those times where you can talk about those challenging situations that you experience together, and you can problem solve together. I think when you've got trust and collaboration and friendship, you're more effective as an educator, but then also just as a person, as a human. And so, a little bit about that, more about that. I know when I started teaching at a particular school, this was, I think, in the year 2000, It was, so I feel like that was back when the dinosaurs roamed, but many, many, many years ago. There was a group of teachers that became my tribe, became my people. And it was one of those things where, in the beginning, we were just colleagues. We were just friends, or, friends at work, and we would talk about just work things. And those relationships developed into some really deep friendship relationships. And, these were folks that were at our wedding. These were folks that I went to the hospital after the birth of their children. They did the same for me. Here we are 21 years later, and I actually went on a girls' trip with this group 2 weekends ago. Like, these people have been pivotal in my life as my tribe. And I think, I don't know if I didn't have them, if I didn't have that group of people that I trusted and respected and collaborated with when I was teaching, I wouldn't have been as effective as I am today. So, quick story, but I just think that illustrates how important it is to have those people. Another sort of aside with that I wanted to share was one of those friends. She actually is still in the classroom, and she, this past year in the pandemic, was told 2 days before school started that she needed to go back to the classroom. She was actually working as an administrator at the time, that she needed to go back to the classroom and was to teach first and second grade online only, remote, for the entire year, 2 days before school started. This is what she was told. And I share this because, as you can imagine, the year was very, very challenging for her, even though she is a seasoned educator, a veteran educator. I mean, had been teaching just as long as I had. And part of, I think, what made it so hard for her, and I think so many of you out there who went through this experience, is she felt, being at home alone all the time teaching, she was on an island. She felt that it was so hard to have those connections and, have that collaboration with her people, with her tribe, because last year, as you all know, there wasn't time. There wasn't time outside of this extremely long school day that you had to really make those connections. There wasn't a pass in the hall where you could just, oh, keep it up, everybody, you're doing great. There wasn't that. And so for her, it was a really, really challenging year. And I was reminded of how important not only this MIE community is, and I think what that can do for people, but how important it is in general just to have that. So again, maybe that kind of a downer story, but I think it illustrates the importance of what community means in education. What about you, Robin? What about your tribe? What about your people? And when you were teaching, tell me about maybe if you have that, or what your experiences were.
Yeah, I mean, look, community and relationships matter more than anything. It's just the foundation of how we interact as human, and it's what sets us apart as humans. Even as we integrate more and more technology into our daily lives, and at home, at work, at play, etc., it's the human connection that we have with each other that is more important than everything, and is what sets us apart as, like I said, as humans, as part of our species. I think the thing that I often was not realized widely outside of the world of education when I was teaching in the classroom was the simple fact of the stimulation for adult conversation as a teacher, because you're literally with children all day long. So whether you're teaching, elementary school and you're with the same children all day, or you're, on a rotation schedule where you might have 7 or 8 different classes coming in and out all day, you're with children and young adults. But there's something that you don't get when you are spending such a large portion of your day with just children and young adults. You're missing that bond that you have with fellow adults, the ability just to kind of turn off for a second and, have a real conversation about a TV show that you watched the night before, or, hey, what's their plans for the weekends, right? I think that is often what people don't see, that educators are also not necessarily getting as much as someone in a normal work experience or a day-to-day job experience where all you do is interact with other adults. And I think adults crave other adult interaction and attention. So I just wanted to call that out. But with that, I think, for me and that experience, that's where I have really found amazing mentors inside of education, inside the profession of education, maybe not inside my school building or in my school district, but just seeking out other community groups like the MIE expert group and being part of the Microsoft education family. When I was in my school district, I was seeking out these adult interactions and these engagements to talk about, yes, things that we cared about each and every day and really looking at how to really transform education, but also just to be able to kick back and enjoy a beverage with, right? And enjoy each other's company. And so I've often sought out other adult mentor relationships, if you would, that I could, learn from them, but then also just have a good time with them as well, if that makes sense.
Well, and like Andrew posted there in chat on the screen, he said, I just miss having lunch with my colleagues. Like, I think that's such a big piece of connection that we take for granted, is just that little bit of time when you're not in front of the students, although some of us do eat lunch with our students, where you can just have a break. And like you said, feel like an adult, feel like a human, and talk about things hopefully that aren't related to school at all. So I hear that. And I think that that's a lot of the struggles that educators felt last year, was not having just those short little snippets of connection that we're used to having in a school day. Going back to your mentoring question, what do you think about, what that brings up for me is new teachers. And so what are your thoughts, Robin, with how we can do a better job, or maybe even just how we can develop some sort of a mentoring program for new teachers in education? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think mentorship at all levels is good. And I also think that every teacher should be a mentor. You should, even if you're a new teacher, I know you're trying to just figure things out and you're like, who can I help, right? You can help other new teachers that are going through the same things that you are as well. So it doesn't have to be veteran teachers mentoring new teachers. It can be new teachers mentoring each other, because you're going through the same problems at the same time. So, but what better ways to have open dialogues and share what you're struggling with, or sharing small successes that you have with each other. Yes, there is value into having, a veteran educator or school leader mentor you as well. But I think everybody should step into some sort of mentoring relationship. And then the second part of mentoring is not just teacher to teacher or leader to a teacher or teacher to leader. It's also mentoring students and mentoring student groups. So I would encourage every educator, and when I say educator, if you work in a school district, if you have a love for children, if you want to inspire change in people and help them become better, if that's, you could be an educator in a prison system, right? If you have that desire to help others, then it's about finding what you're passionate about. Is there a special group, maybe, or population that you had an experience with yourself that you want to, share your stories with, help someone get through the next challenges that they, are experiencing? Or, maybe if you're a leader and you see a spark of leadership skills in other people that you're working with. To me, it's your duty as a leader to help that next person come up through that ranks and help them become a leader, and recognize and celebrate them, give them praise and recognition for what they're doing, and elevate them so that they know that you believe in them. So whether it's a leader validating that for an educator on the campus, that they matter and that they have skills that set them apart from others, that needs to be recognized. If you're a teacher and you've got students that, maybe you wouldn't say is a traditional student who's on maybe a path to go to an Ivy League college, that doesn't mean that we give up on those students. Those are the students that you might want to mentor. Not every student looks the same. We should recognize the diverse backgrounds of our students in our classrooms and find that spark of hope and, really encourage people that they can be more. I think everybody needs a cheerleader, whether that be our students, whether that be our colleagues that we work with, and also our leaders in our buildings as well. We can't say and forget that just because someone is now a principal or a superintendent or in some leadership role that they now have figured it all out. Everybody needs somebody to believe in them, to feel valued and respected, to trust them, and to build relationships with. And again, I'll say this again, but building relationships is the most important thing that someone can do. So no matter what regards it looks like, I think we should work on a system. And so for mentoring, Lisa, I know that when I was in the classroom, there were some official groups that were, set aside for like new teachers to be mentored. And then that would be it. It was like you were your 1 year as a new teacher mentor group, and then you were expected just to figure things out. And I think that's where the system fails. Is you can't put these in buckets and say, oh, just these first year teachers need mentorship or just these people do. You have to have a community of learning inside your school district and beyond the walls of your school district. That's why, honestly, I think I was so drawn to the MIE Expert program when I was still, in my school district. Was I was looking for something beyond what I could hear and see, and people were telling me in my own school district every day. Mm-hmm. And by expanding that reach for looking for mentors in other cities and other states and other countries allowed me to see and have a much more wide view of the world that we live in. And quite frankly, it's what keeps me going as an educator in general. Is I learned so much from building that network and for looking and seeking for other mentors. So I don't think it has to be a formal process. It should just be like anything else. It's something we can strive and go find your tribe, go find your people.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you said that because, that's the MIE community specifically. I didn't know it existed when I was in the classroom. And I think had I known and had I had the ability to be part of a group such as that, it could have changed so many things. Hindsight's 2020, but looking back, I think, gosh, would I have stayed in education longer? Would I have, been able to reach this kid because I would have had some sort of ideas, that I had gotten from the community that I didn't have on my own. I just, I think the piece that you mentioned with the global connection is huge. And it's such an awesome opportunity for educators today to have that extended community.
For sure. So, Lisa, tell me a little bit, we've been talking about a lot of relationships, and we obviously want to center all this on our learners, because at the end of the day, it's why every educator went into education, is to focus on improving student learning outcomes. Tell me a little bit about why is it so important that educators build a solid relationship and foundation with their students, especially at the beginning of the school year?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is another huge, crucial question. And I think, in light of the pandemic, it's been amplified. So we know the social, emotional health of our students. We know how important that is now because we were able to see results of that firsthand. And I think, looking at the research, we know that when students are more engaged with their instructor and their classmates, they have higher quality learning experiences. So even just that right there, to know that a student will learn more and will learn better if they have engagement, that right there tells you how important it is. And I think, as educators, we knew this beforehand, but we didn't actually see the effects of not having these strong relationships built until the pandemic, when for many of our students, the social emotional health of these students declined so greatly. So, of a silver lining, I suppose, for the pandemic, not the decline in the social emotional health, but recognizing how crucial that is, I think that would be the silver lining for us in education. At Microsoft, we've got a number of different tools that we suggest or that we have available that I think teachers can use to build some of these relationships. And one of these is FLIPGRID. And I know there's a ton of FLIPGRID users out there already. In fact, look at this. The MIEE program and FLIPGRID collaborations have been great ways to network for mentoring, collaboration, and encouragement for me. Thank you, Heather. I think also this is a really great way to build relationships with students or colleagues or parents, and just some ideas that I can think of, and Robin, chime in with some that you have. But when you're building a relationship with students, I think it's really important for students to feel heard and to feel seen. And so if you can have students do kind of a virtual show and tell, so show me your pets, show me an important item, show me something that's special to you, show me a talent that you have students respond to a quote, tell a joke, respond to a text, any way that you can have students share their voice. And then that's the platform of FLIPGRID is, improving student voice. I think that is building that relationship. Any other thoughts that you have with FLIPGRID, Robin, and things that you can do?
I think you said it in a nutshell. I mean, it's using these tools not just in a way where every FLIPGRID I'm having my students is to respond after you read chapter 5 in the book. Please create a FLIPGRID response and tell me how the character analyzed the protagonist. Like, it can't just be that all the time. And I think that's what this part about relationships is so important. Is if you don't find out what pets they have at home or what sports they like to play outside of your classroom, or maybe that they are the primary caregiver of the rest of their family every single day when they get home. If you don't know those things about your kids, they're not going to get to be able to tell you about the protagonist and the antagonist in a story, because their mind is somewhere else. And if you don't show them as their educator that you care about them and them first, then it's hard to get them to care about the content that you're trying to get them to master. So crucial, I'm a big believer in the first 5 days. First 5 days should all be about relationship building with your students, getting to know who they are, what kind of situations they're in, what their likes and dislikes are, how they like to learn, how they likely to receive information. And if you invest a good amount of time at the beginning, it'll pay off in the long run. So who cares if you didn't get to cover your syllabus? How many people remember that anyway? Who cares if you missed, you're behind your other, maybe some other teachers that are like, oh, on day 1, the scope and sequence says we have to teach this. Who cares? Because you're gonna be so far ahead if you just spend a little bit of time up front to actually build those relationships. And FLIPGRID is just a great place to do that in.
Yes, agreed. Another idea or suggestion is using forms. So, one thing, and I'm sure most teachers do this in one form, no pun intended, or another, but a get to know you form. And so, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite activity? What's your favorite food? Again, just a way to let your students have a chance to share who they are with you. And maybe that's something that then they can in turn share with their classmates, however the situation best kind of presents itself to teachers. That's totally cool. But I think forms is a really great way to just initiate that initial piece of that get to know you piece with the students.
Yeah, I think that just as equally important on some of these too is the teacher's response back to these things. Like, how many times do students fill out some of these interest survey forms and they just go to a black hole and maybe they were glanced over or they weren't read? But I think, again, spending time up front to be intentional, to, say, oh, you like that movie? That's one of my favorite movies too. It's acknowledging a couple of the students' comments or things that they say. Again, it's the connection. It's a two-way street that has to happen. It can't just be you're collecting a bunch of information and you're reading it at night before you go to bed every day, but then the kid never knows you actually read it or you care. So making sure that you're being intentional about the responses and the reflections to their things, the things that they're sharing with you. Super important.
Very good point. Another thought is Minecraft. Minecraft, so many of us know Minecraft and, have kind of ideas of how we think that it can be used. But this, I think, is another really great tool to help build relationships with students. And again, build, I feel like I'm throwing in some puns here. having students build in Minecraft their perfect bedroom or their dream bedroom, or maybe what their perfect experience would look like, what their best day would look like. Something where they get to really create this ideal world that would help you to learn more about them.
Yeah.
Other thoughts about Minecraft?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it also helps with having our kids see that the teacher can be invulnerable, right? It's like the teacher was invited to their playground. And you're going to come over to my playground. You're going to check out how I like to work and tools I like to use. That I think that right there creates that two-way street, right? It's not just the teacher inviting me into her classroom. I get to invite the teacher into my playground, and so that really can build a lot of trust between the teacher and a student there.
Agreed. Well, and even just, you're right, Minecraft, the platform itself, just a teacher's willingness to use that with students when inherently the students are going to be better, I'm kind of air quoting this, at using Minecraft than the teacher anyway. I think that shows trust right there that, okay, look, you get to be the ones to show me what this Minecraft thing is all about. So good point there. Agreed.
Heather's on a roll here. She said her street cred went up big time when her students saw she could use it herself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, students are super impressed, like you said, Robin, when you show some vulnerability. And boy, I tell you what, this Minecraft was not, the Minecraft Education Edition wasn't around when I was still in the classroom, but had it been, holy moly, I would have been the number one teacher if I would have used that. And yeah, agreed, Dixie. Anytime students get to create is a win for sure. Yeah. So teams, another a couple ideas here with teams. So many of you have used this already with your students, and teams can be used for just one-to-one connections. So just even a chat to your students. Hey, how was your weekend? Something that they told you the week before that they were going to do. Did you have fun at the zoo like you said you were going to do? That's one way that you can use teams. Icebreakers, just general discussion icebreakers that you post at the beginning of the day, like in your morning meeting time, that students can then respond to. You can see it. Other classmates can see it. That's a way to get to know students. The Reflect app that we have in Teams, that's a way to check kind of their social and emotional health throughout the day or at various times in your instruction. So a couple of thoughts there with Teams. Robin, what do you think are some other good ways that you can use it for relationship building?
The same, Lisa. And I think it's, even with our little kids in our classroom, right? They don't necessarily need to know how to type big words yet. They can just go in and find an emoji or a GIF that can demonstrate how they feel for the day and drop that into the Teams, right? And so giving even our little learners that are not quite ready to start using a keyboard yet and figuring out how to type into a Teams chat, they can still respond with pictures. But it's, and we all know, none of us, we're adults and we love using GIFs and dropping them in chats as well. So, I think just providing that experience for people to be able to articulate how they feel, what they feel like, what questions they have. It also helps for learners who may seem to have been a little shy working in an in-person environment, or where they feel like they're being judged if they speak out loud and they have a stutter maybe or something of that nature. They're just timid. This gives them a voice. They can drop in and feel now like they're more included and part of the classroom because nothing's holding them back anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it just provides a more inclusive space for our kids to be able to interact with each other.
Well, and with that, I'll just share a quick personal story. So my son Brennan has autism. He's on the spectrum, and before the pandemic, actually, for him has been a complete blessing because he went from feeling anxious and feeling nervous to when a teacher would call on him in class, that's torture basically for him to want to answer a question in class, to being able to share his thoughts, share his feelings in an inclusive, non-threatening way through Teams. And so he is probably in the minority, but really, really loved the ability to do school remotely because he was able to blossom more than he's ever blossomed before, because there wasn't that pressure of all eyes on him when, he needed to answer a question or whatever it is. So I think, your point with teams being a really, really great option for inclusivity, that was obvious with my son. So agree with that piece completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Lisa, it's been great speaking to you tonight about relationships, about communities. I'm so super excited to see what our new cohort of MIE experts and showcase schools and incubator schools, are up to this year, what they're leading, what innovation takes place. I can't wait to celebrate each and every one of them alongside of you. And so really looking forward to that this year. I know we're wrapping up towards the end of our show. I did want to see if you'd be down for a little lightning round before we wrap up, as always. So are you down for lightning round?
Sure. Lightning round. Bring it on.
All right. Real quick. Got a few questions for you. All right. Okay. What food can you not live without?
Oh, easy. Italian. Anything Italian. Bring on cheese, bring on garlic, bring on bread.
Yes. All right. If you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?
I am not one of those people that say, oh, right here, I'm exactly where I want to be. I would say somewhere sunny and on a beach.
Nice. Vacations are great. I encourage lots of vacation taking in your future, Lisa.
Yes.
All right. Any new hobbies that you picked up during quarantine?
Yes. Nerdy ones. I picked up books on tape, listening to Audible, and books on tape while, drumroll please, diamond dotting. Yes, that was my new hobby that I picked up. For those of you that don't know about diamond dotting, it's where you take these little teeny plastic dots, gems, and then it's like a color by number, basically, picture. And there's a sticky paper that then you put them on this sticky paper and it makes, oh, Robin, thank you. There you go. There's a diamond dot right there. Yeah.
I knocked down my green screen. That's okay. Yes. This is Diamond Dot via Jen Mitchell, who gave this to me as a wonderful gift in celebration of our Flopsy Llama mascot.
Yep. So Jen Mitchell is very well aware of diamond dotting. Yep. That was my new hobby. And my family makes incessant fun of me because I put my Bose headphones on with my Audible books and I diamond dot when I just need some time to get away. So yeah, thanks, pandemic. I've become antisocial in my family.
All right. Next one. What is the last series you binge watched and how long did it take you to get through it?
Right now I am binge watching Money Heist. Robin, I was going to text you actually to recommend this to you. It's fabulous if you haven't started it. I'm not done. I just started on Saturday and I'm at episode 10 today. So
yeah, I think this might be the one I think I saw this. Is this like 3 or 4 episodes?
There's 5 parts. I'm on part 1, episode 10, but it's
something different. Okay.
Yeah.
You also fabulous. Have another lightning round question that came via our chat here. Somebody wants to know who your favorite TS is.
My favorite TS is Molly Jacobstein on this call. Is that who it is? Or is it Garrett Schindler?
It was Scott.
Oh, hi, Scott. Scott's my favorite TS. That's awesome.
All right. And the last one, who inspires you most in life right now?
That's such a hard one. You know what I'm going to say, and this is not trying to kiss up I swear, but it's educators. Educators, because I'm not in the classroom anymore. Educators, to me, if you can be in the classroom and if you can still be positive and have that smile on your face like I know you do, you are the most inspiring to me right now. I am in awe of you daily.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. They're rock stars for sure.
They are
rated heroes.
Yep, they are.
Well, Lisa, it's been a pleasure having you on the show tonight with us. Excited to see what's next for you and this amazing MIE expert and showcase school community. Thank you for joining. And don't forget, everyone, you can still give Scott Bricker a shout out in the chat if you want. He's hanging out here. He's smiling right now. I see him on the camera, even though you can't. But we wanted just to wrap up with you guys and let you know that we do have a Wakelet that we put together with all these resources that we just covered. So you can check out this link here and look at the different resources that can help support some of these relationship and community buildings in your classroom soon. As always, we will be back here. I think is that the right date? I don't think that's the right date. Maybe it is. Is the right date? The next one? Guys? Help me out here. Okay, maybe so. September 28th, I guess, is our next date. I'm going with that. We'll make a correction if needed, but we will be back on here. Scott and I will be on our next show with you all, and you can always watch any of these episodes on demand on our YouTube channel at aka.ms/US Microsoft EDU Live. Look forward to staying in touch with you all. Feel free to reach out to Scott or I on any social channels, LinkedIn or Twitter. We're there to connect with you, and looking forward to some future guests too. So if you have some ideas or you want to be a guest on a future episode of Live with US Microsoft EDU, don't hesitate to reach out to us. But with that, we will say goodnight. Farewell. It's been fun.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me.